Hello and welcome to Janome Live. I'm Susan Enderson. Today's topic is Mirage stitches on the Janome CM17. These are interesting stitches that offer satin elements with spacing between. Okay, so you say that's nothing new, except that these stitches have a different tension setting that allow you to hide the connecting stitches and make the satin elements appear to be stitched individually. Hence, Mirage. Let me show you how much fun and how easy this is to do. I wanted to go over the basic setup of doing the Mirage stitches. The first thing you're going to do is I have a bobbin wound with embroidery thread. This would normally match the back of my fabric, whatever that base fabric might be. Okay. I've also got my embroidery bobbin case in here with a tighter tension because it's a lighter weight thread. I have my F foot on. This is the one that offers the little red mark on the crossbar in front. Can you see that real good? There we go. Has a little red mark in the front here. This is going to give you your lining, allows you to line up the fold of your fabric when you're doing it. I do have a blue tip needle in my machine, which is a 7511, my embroidery needle, and I have a different colored thread in my needle, so because I wanted to show you the different setup that the machine does with these Mirage stitches. Now at the machine, all right, I'm going to choose my decorative setting, and I'm going to page once to the left to get to my Mirage stitches, which are right here. Okay, nice collection of stitch designs, great fun things to play with. You can combine them, you can use them one at a time, such as this. You can change your settings, you can change the actual width of the pattern itself. I'm just increasing it here, it's going real slow. I can do the spacing on how satin this is. I can make it closer together, I can make it further apart. I can also increase the distance between the stitches as well. So if I want them to be further apart, or if I want to bring them closer together, I can change the actual stitch length of the distance between it. And of course you can always go back to the default setting. So you have that complete capability at the machine. The other option that you have, which is kind of fun too, is the fact that you have the option to combine them together. So going down to the bottom of my screen, I touch my 3 hearts and it turns into a heart, clover, diamond, and I can now combine my patterns together as many or as often as I like. Okay, for today, for right now, I just want to do just a straight one so you can see how this is stitched on your machine. Now, I will say this, I have done some light stabilizing to my fabric. I recommend either some Terrio Magic, you might want to do the Premium Quilting and Craft Spray, or Best Press, something to give it a little bit more body, make it a little easier for you to handle. The other thing you're going to need is a product called Badge Master. Badge Master is a heavy weight stabilizer. Okay, and I'm just going to take a piece of this. I just need a small strip. Okay. Now, Badge Master is a stabilizer I use. It's a heavyweight washout product. It makes it very easy for the stitches to hold their shape. You're going to place the Badge Master about half under the fold and half extended beyond. Then I'm going to slide my fabric and my stabilizer under my machine, and I'm going to rock my needle down to hold the stabilizer in place. This allows me to align my fabric directly against the needle. Let's see if we can see that a little bit better. There we go. Okay. At this point, I'm ready to go ahead and start stitching. At this point, I'm ready to go ahead and start stitching. Now the idea is to stitch only in the stabilizer with the straight stitches, and the satin element will be stitched in both the fabric and the stabilizer. So we're just going to go ahead and get started here. And I don't recommend going top speed at this, because you're going to want to get that stitching just exactly right at the edge of your fabric. So the gold colored thread is my needle thread, and that's the thread that is going to be on the outside of the fabric. That's one other thing you want to keep remember with this, is you're folding right sides together and you're stitching on the wrong side of the fabric. Yeah, let's see if we can get this back out for you. There we go. And you can see now where my stitching is just into the stabilizer and not into the fabric itself. So my straight stitching is completely off the fabric. Now, this again is the wrong side of my fabric. Well, that doesn't do me any good. How does that be pretty on the top side? By simply opening the fabric up and pulling it gently, that gorgeous gold thread that I was working with comes to the right side of my fabric. And on the back, you can see here there's a little bit of red along one side. That's because the tension the machine has set is very low. It's at 1.0. This allows the needle thread to be pulled more towards the back and allowing you to give you a gorgeous stitch on the right side of your fabric. Okay, and on the back side you have what would normally be considered an embroidery setup. But that's how you basics for doing your Mirage stitches. Now you could also join two pieces of fabric together. Here I've got a piece of sticky stabilizer. It's a washout. And I'm just going to put one piece of fabric here. Now this has got a finished edge on it. Make sure it's nice and straight. And here's another piece of fabric. And I'm going to place this finished edge. Now these are going to be right side up this time. You do want to use the thread that you're going to be working with, or the thread that you want to see in your needle. Your bobbin thread is just a bobbin thread as it would normally be. Okay, now I've left just a little tiny space between my two fabrics. Not a lot, just enough so I can get a needle in between there. There we go. Okay, so I've got them fairly close together, as you can see. Now the next thing I'm going to do, move that over just a little bit. I'm going to take another piece of Badge Master and place it underneath where my stitching is going to be. This is going to make sure that my design holds true and doesn't pull my fabric and everything together. All right, because the sticky stabilizer is not strong enough to hold the stitching. So I'm going to drop my needle down between my two pieces of fabric, lower my presser foot, and I'm going to be stitching right between those two layers, those two finished edges, if you would, of fabric. So we'll pull it up just a little bit, but that sticky stabilizer is going to keep it in line for me and keep my fabric in place. And we're just going to go ahead and stitch it right now. And I think my presser foot got caught. Now you want to make sure when you're stitching this, that those two pieces of fabric line up directly in that red mark, and your stitching is going to be between the layers or between the finished edges of fabric. This is a great detail to do like on a sleeve, and you can leave that little gap open. The threads will hold the stitching together, so you won't need to worry about that. And we're just going to go ahead and do this like so. Make sure that stitching is going to go in between the layers, or the finished edges of the fabric rather, and we'll lock it off here. Okay, and there's my stitching. All I have to do is remove the stabilizer, and I've got some beautiful detail work with little gaps in between as a decorative pattern, either on a hem to extend the length of a t-shirt or something like that, or on a sleeve. I can see this going on a long sleeve all the way down from the shoulder to the cuff. I think that'd be beautiful. Now I've gone ahead and done some stitch outs of some different design combinations when I was trying to figure out which combination I wanted to use for my scarf, and they're really a lot of fun. This is the one I ended up choosing, which was the star and the circle. But look at the diamond and the square. It almost looks like it's been twisted back and forth. Really kind of cool there. This is the triangle, and this is just one of the little crossover spacings that I really like that one too. Here's another group. Now this is just the triangle set, and you can see where I folded the fabric, and here's my stabilizer underneath, and you open it out, okay, and you get that beautiful, beautiful design. I can just see this in so many different places. I really kind of like these, I don't know, they kind of look like staples or latches combination here. I really think that's attractive too. And then what about those little dots? Wouldn't that be beautiful on an all-over pattern? Absolutely gorgeous. Here's another fun technique I thought would be fun. Okay, and this is, I just took ribbon and I did it on either side of the ribbon. Folded it back, stitched it down, folded this back, stitched it down, and I've just attached my ribbon to a piece of fabric. And if you want, you could always do ribbon to ribbon. And this is just a variegated thread that I had that looked kind of blended the two colors together. But I thought, man, that's a really nice, attractive feature too. And you could do this rather than the single ribbon. You could do a double ribbon as a trim on the bottom of a hem, or heck, if you've got a garment or a project that has a bad place on it and something has happened to it, a stain, or maybe it's a tear, you could definitely cover it up with something like this and have that as an added feature to your project and to your garment. Just because it turned out to be so much fun, I went ahead and did cut 10 pieces of ribbon. This is 3/8 inch wide, and I made them 5 inches long. I laid it on a top square badge master that is 4 by 5, and just did a row of stitching between the rows of ribbon. Just give me a nice kind of a decorative type fabric that I'm now going to use for an applique. Back over to my machine, I'm going to go to Home. I'm going to pick up Embroidery Mode. And I'm going to select my design by hoop size. I'm going to select the SQ10D hoop and select pattern number 233. Now if you choose and you want to make this larger, you can do that. I'm going to take my design up a little bit, so I'm going to go back here to my edit screen and go to resize, and I'm going to take it up to 107%. Press OK, and then I'm going to baste around the interior of the hoop. Now after my design has been stitched out, it's just a straight stitch outline, and I've got my fabric basted, I'm now going to lay my decorative fabric over top of my design. Make sure all my edges are covered here. Right on the edge of that. I wonder if I can do it better this way. Yeah, that works better. Okay. And now I'm just going to go ahead and finish my design. So we're going to press start. So I'm just going to go ahead and press start. And we're going to stitch the design. Stitch the fabric down. Then I'm going to move my fabric, still in the hoop. I'm going to go back here to my basting and drop my position to the lower right corner. Let's make it go up top right corner. And now I can trim out. Now I can trim out the fabric close to the stitching. Like so. I've now got the fabric trimmed out close, and I'm ready to go back to my stitching. So I'm just going to press my start icon again. And there's my design all done, ready for Valentine's. You can also do the same stitching directly onto the ribbon and give yourself an entirely different look. I've just been having so much fun playing with these designs and working with the individual stitches and coming up with new ways that they can be used. I hope you find some fun things with it too. Here's another idea. Take a ready-wear garment and add the stitching to it. Same thing that we've done before, same setup, but I ran 2 passes down the front of this purchased blouse. And here's the close-up of the stitching. I did the square and then the diamond combination into memory and ran it down about an inch away from the center placket. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Susan Enderson for Janome Live. Don't forget to stop into your Janome dealer and check out the CM17 and all its wonderful features. I'll be looking for you again soon on another Janome Live.